Found the perfect shop for the wood for your projects? No? So you're looking for better resources and would maybe even love to get access to wood stores like the professionals have access to? And once you're in the shop, you know exactly what to look out for and what to choose? The assortment, quality ranges and hidden defects can be really overwhelming. And there are in fact some very important things you better check before you make your choice and pay. If that is what you want to know, this video is for you. Because we will have a look into some big box stores like Lowe's and Home Depot on the one hand and a professional hardwood supply on the other hand, and make a comparison what to expect there. But don't let yourself be fooled, the message is not obvious. For both, we will explore how to find the shop in your vicinity and what kind of assortment you can expect there. We will also cover what to look out for during the purchase, things like quality grade, wood defects to avoid and how to find them, and finally how the price is calculated to check on your bill. And I will explain it for non-professionals, as I'm a non-professional myself. So with your language as being an experienced non-pro and even understandable for starters. And I need to do some wood purchase for my next project anyway. I'm really running out of stock, so let's hit the road. So let's get started. The first stop is one of the huge big box stores. In my vicinity, the Home Depot has the biggest assortment. So that is where we go first. I know its reputation amongst woodworkers is not extremely well, but let's have a closer look if there might be some good deals or even occasions where you better go there. Not everybody is working on high quality furniture. Think of a birdhouse or a shelf for your garage. Then we will have a look into Lowe's, which is the second huge big box store chain in the US. On the way back we will also pop into a local hardwood supply store. They are kind of hidden and often located in industrial areas, but their great advantage is that they are specialized on furniture, wood and cabinet making. So exactly what we need. So we will also have a look at their assortment, quality and price range, and how to manage to get some wood from them. As they are specialized on professional woodworkers, there's a little bit of etiquette needed. Further alternatives would be online lumber shops like Woodworker Sources or even Amazon, but also sawmills in your vicinity. For me, online is not off the table, but low on my priority list, as I want to touch and feel what I buy. Besides, when I try to buy online for bigger projects, their price was not compatible. But that might be only me and my projects. Finally, sawmills highly depend on your area. No forest, no mill, that's easy. So not something for general recommendation and thus no topic for this video. We are here in the section for the construction wood, and that is quite impressive. A wide assortment, lots of choices. The majority is lumberwood, decking, fencing, some plywood, all in various dimensions. The construction wood section is maybe 85% of the wood assortment in this shop. Species are softwood like pine, spruce, fir and some cedar and larch. So quite a huge focus on the house and around the house and the garden. This construction wood quality might be useful for your furniture projects if you go, for example, for a rough natural style or shelves in your garage or laundry room. But still, the quality I see here is not really persuading for furniture at least, with banded, twisted wood and lots of other defects. Leftovers from other customers and so on. It looks like trading and production is fast here, but my question mark would be on quality management on the assortment here in the racks. Also watch out for too humid wood, which would be not okay for furniture building. Blast if you have a moisture meter, because if you buy here, you make a bet that the wood is dried out properly. In any case, key is to make your own selection, what you choose to take home. You might end up leaving without anything if by chance there's only some bad quality wood for what you are looking for. But when you're digging around in the piles of wood, please make sure you leave it in a good condition. The next customer and staff around will appreciate it. But that was just the section for the construction wood. If you leave here without looking into the furniture wood area, you did not look at the full picture. The assortment is far more narrow, but still I see here red cedar, red and white oak, maple and some more. The available dimensions are not that many, but on the other hand some boards are even planed and surface finished. Quality overall is far better suited for furniture building. But the price is killing me. That is insane. Well, I need to be precise. For small projects, this wood might make sense. If you're looking for wood toys or cutting boards, the overall price is not really a huge factor. Buying at a hardwood shop is buying at least a full board, which then is rough sawn. And for online purchase, you need to pay the shipping too. Looking into loaves, the assortment, quality and price are very similar. A big focus on construction wood for house and garden, but rather small for furniture woodworking. I would not be surprised if the national sawmill companies producing the wood would be the same. Okay, next stop is the real thing, the hardwood store. And your first question is probably how to find the store in your area. Well, might be a little more tricky than to find a big box store, but if you go into the internet and look for cabinet maker supply or hardwood store near me, you have a good chance to find a good shop. Or you call a local cabinet maker and ask him where he gets his wood from. We are on the way to Horizon Forest, which is a pretty big over-regional dealer chain for all kind of wood for professional furniture manufacturing and production. Besides many other things, they sell lumber, so hard and softwood, but also sheet goods like plywood, particle boards and MDF boards. Your second question is probably, do they sell to me as a non-professional with a minor demand? And in the majority the answer will be yes, if you approach them accordingly. Why? These houses are for professionals and trade a huge amount of wood very fast to their professional customers without a lot of talking. They know what they want. So we as non-professionals are kind of interruption, but could make a trade with them if it's not too complicated. So you need to be prepared and know what you want. I also recommend for the first time going there to introduce yourself and explain briefly what you want as non-professional. But don't step into their warehouse alone. That's a no-go zone without explicit permission. You are not at Home Depot. We start with the lumber. The assortment is really huge. There are all kind of piles like walnut, maple, oak, birch and cedar. The stacks are sorted by thickness, length, but the width varies within the stacks. That is how the boards come out of the mill. In most cases rough sawn. You can buy solid wood in different board thicknesses. Thickness is measured in multiples of 1/4 of an inch, so 3/4 or 5/4 of an inch, and that is in the US. In Europe it's the same thickness, but it's called out in millimeters. And because of this conversion, these numbers are kind of crooked, like 33 millimeters for 5/4 of an inch. But 33 millimeters is also a kind of standard in Europe. Expect the rough sawn boards to be slightly thicker than their nominal value, because the sawmill leave an extra thickness on for planing. In some shops the board can also be bought with plain surface and straightened edges, called S2S, S3S and S4S, but that comes with a slightly higher price. Some shops offer to mill and edge cut the rough sawn boards to your wishes. Let's have a look into the piles. The cut direction determines the best usage for the wood. Or the other way around, if you look for example for wood for table legs, watch out for a certain cut direction in the piles. So what are the cut directions and their recommended use cases? There is flat or plain sawn. Growth rings are nearly parallel to the surface, causing a nice grain flower pattern, but can bend over time. Plain sawn is most common as the parallel milling pattern is not labor intensive in the mill. Rift sawn has a 30 to 60 degree growth ring angle to the surface. It is a staple in solid wood with grain lines straight on all sides, best used for table or chair legs or similar. Finally, quarter sawn has a growth ring angle of 60 to 90 degree. Quarter sawn wood has an amazing straight grain pattern. It is often used for cabinetry, flooring and high-end customer craftsmanship.
Now let's have a look at the defects to avoid. Look along the boards and you can see if the boards are bowed or even twisted.
The worst is the twisted board. It takes quite some effort to mill it straight. So if you don't have the equipment and the shop cannot offer this service, just avoid it. Slightly bowed, cupped or crooked boards are not as bad as twisted. And if you cut it to shorter single pieces anyway, it might be acceptable. But generally something to avoid too. Cracks and splits is the next defect to look out for. But make sure you look on both sides of the board. Knots are often not avoidable, but look for sufficient long areas without knots, and maybe you can accept smaller knots as natural beauty depending on what you're building. Finally, some species per nature show a slightly lighter color on the outside perimeter than in the inner core of the log. Walnut, for example, is known for its discoloration. Choose the board accordingly. Means either avoid it or use it on purpose in your furniture project.
Finally, how do you pay the wood? Well, right, with money. But how is the price calculated? It is wood volume multiplied by price per volume.
The price per volume depends on the species, quality and the demand on the market. The shops have tables for that. The wood volume in the US is calculated per board foot. For completeness, the formula is length multiplied by width by thickness. But there are also apps out that do the calculation for you. Prior to going to the hardware shop, you note the purchase list anyway. So one further step could be just to calculate the board foot to check on your bill from the store.
Let's have a look at the plywood. This is one of the most used materials for furniture carcasses, for example, in kitchen, besides MDF and particle boards. So worth looking into it. No surprise, the assortment again is stunning. Let's sort it out. The stacks are sorted by thickness, plate dimensions, quality, surface layer type. Besides, you might find the same product from several manufacturers. One major difference to the ply of the big box stores needs to be mentioned. The ply out of this store is furniture ply and is on a whole different level than the construction ply from Lowe's, much finer and stronger. But still, there are different grades. In order to distinguish one stack from the other, let's look at the different grades of furniture ply.
The most common plywood sizes are 4 by 8 feet and 5 by 5 feet sheets. Thickness and number of layers in the ply is the first obvious difference. The more layers a board of a given thickness has, the finer the single layers are cut, the stronger the ply will be. For carcasses, I normally choose a 1/2 or 3/4 inch boards with 5 or 7 layers. The best level for plywood with reliable values for strength is marine and aircraft plywood, but that is hard to find and very expensive.
The real difference is when it comes to the two outer layers. That is where it's at.
Normal ply uses the same wood in the outer layer like in the core, but the quality grades depend on the quality of the outer layer, and that ranges from A to D, whereas A is the best quality with only some minor defects, sanded and smoothened, and D is unsanded and allowing unrepaired defects like knots and cracks in the outer layer. If the two outer layers are from different quality grades, the rating is a double letter like AC for the top layer as a A grade and the bottom layer as a C grade. You also find numbers from 1 to 3 for the grades of the bottom layer, so A3 would be the best grade on the top and the lowest grade on the bottom. Besides, it's very common to have the outer layers made from high quality veneer like maple, oak or even mahogany. These are all A grades and well for premium furniture, but that comes with a price. I do want to mention that also the cutting pattern of the outer layer leaves room for choices in some hardware stores, like rotary cut, plain slice, but I guess that is for expert level then. You may hear about Baltic birch ply. That is a normal high quality, high density ply made from slow growing birch from the northern regions. It also comes in the just mentioned different quality grades. Last, there is MDF with outer layers from veneer, but these kind of hybrids would probably be worth a whole other video.
So that is a variety of options, and depending on your project, you can easily make the pre-selection at home and finally select when you're at the store having a look at it. For my next furniture, I will have a look at the AA Baltic ply in 3/4 of an inch thickness for the carcass and 3/4 of an inch walnut panels for the solid hardwood panels at the sides.
Finally, we are back home and the wood is in the workshop. And as my next project will be another office furniture, big box store wood is not an option and walnut is not available there anyway. I hope you enjoyed this video and found some precious information for your next wood shopping tour. And if you liked it, please give me a thumb up and maybe consider subscribing too. Both would help to grow my channel.